All right. Hey guys, this is your host Thomas Tyree here from On the Hop podcast. Today, this will be episode 236 for you guys. Today, I'm joined by a special guest, Sean Jones for the Jones versus Sports podcast. Joining with me today, the first time we're collaborating today. So, thank you, Sean, for taking the time to come out. And definitely, we're going to chop it up, have a good time, talk about sports today.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me, man. I definitely appreciate it. And it's a long time coming, but we here now, so let's get it.
Yeah, we're gonna have some fun here. So we'll start off with the NFL, discussing what happened from NFL Week 13. So, Jones, I got some questions for you. What was your favorite games and moments from the NFL Week 13 from what the slate of games that you see?
My well, personally, I didn't think it was a great week of NFL football. We had some good games, but I don't think it was as good as the past few weeks that we've had. We had some really great games. But that being said, um, I guess I felt like we've already spoke on our Cowboys. Well, not on this podcast, but our Cowboys game was absolutely amazing just to watch them be that great. But outside of them, my favorite game to watch was the Rams and the Panthers game. Um, what a shocker right there. I mean, some people had the Panthers going in. I didn't, but I am rooting for the Panthers this year. Like I'm rooting. I am a Bryce Young fan. He's grown on me. I wasn't that big of a fan going into his career, but he's grown on me. He's after being benched, he came back with that grit that, hey, you know what, I lost my spot, but I'm not going to lose it again. I got it back and I'm not going to lose it again. And he's got that team playing really, really good. That Rams team was hot as any team in the NFL, and I didn't see that coming. I thought the Panthers would give them a run for their money, but I didn't think it would be that good. And I know Matthew Stafford helped them out a little bit with three turnovers himself, two picks and a fumble. But that being said, the Panthers did what they were supposed to do. If you get three turnovers, you got to capitalize on them, and they did, and they stayed in the game. And if you're any team in the NFL, you could be the Raiders, the worst team in the NFL, or well, the Titans. You could be the worst team in the NFL, and as long as you're in the game, you're keeping it close. You have a shot at winning the game. So that's why they say it's any given Sunday. It's the NFL. Everybody's a pro. And it was definitely dope. Even though I was going for the Rams, and I think I had money on the Rams, but I was happy to see the Panthers pull that one out because it just shows that you never know. You never know with some teams. So I was definitely happy to watch that game going back and forth, and a great score, 31-28. We got fireworks and everything.
Yeah, I like that one with the Rams and Panthers because that was definitely a game that was I paid attention to, but I had it on red zone because I was following the Colts and Texans game because I thought that'd be a
Yeah,
much more competitive game. But yeah, that caught my eye. Like I was really surprised that the Panthers pulled off that upset. Like you said, Matthew Stafford, in my opinion, the MVP candidate, the top MVP candidate this season, gifting the Panthers at times, turning over the football. I was really surprised. But yeah, the Panthers, we'll probably talk about them later. They're a gritty team that you got to pay attention to. Like, they're not the best team, and they're not the worst team, but they're a team
yep.
that's like right in the float that can shock anybody on any given Sunday. So I like that point that you said about the Panthers. And basically, yeah, it's like, I feel like you probably feel the same way. It's one of those NFL seasons where I feel like anybody can beat anybody, like on any given Sunday, Monday, Thursday, whenever the game is. It's just like that type of NFL season that we're getting right now.
Absolutely. I agree 1000%. This is one of the best seasons of football that I've ever watched. Like, yes, I'm a Cowboy fan, and obviously I'm going to watch my Cowboys, but I love watching football in general. And when you see generally bad teams putting up fights against great teams, that's what you want to see as football fans. Like close games, fireworks, any game is up, is 50-50. Like I've never felt this way I don't want to say never, but that I can remember in the last 5-10 years, where games that you would normally be like, oh yeah, that's just throw that W in there, that for whatever team. You can't do that this year. Like
Yeah.
almost every team outside of the Titans, who haven't been, they got one win, but they're competitive here and there. The Browns, come on, we talk about the Browns all the time about being a bad organization, and it just never works out for them. But because of that defense, they're in every game. They're in almost every game. So I personally love seeing it. The Seahawks making a run. Nobody really saw that coming. It's just fun. So as a football fan, I love watching what I'm seeing. Obviously, I root for my Cowboys to do good, and they're playing a lot better than they did this to. I don't want to say start the season. They started the season not too bad, but like the middle of the season, where we lost some bad games. We shouldn't have
Yeah.
lost. So it looked scary, but we're looking a lot better. But yeah, just in general, as a football fan, I love what I'm watching.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that, and I couldn't be more proud. Even being a Cowboys fan, with just how the flow of the NFL season is going, because it's like it's must watch.
Yes.
Even sometimes you look at the games, the primetime games that don't even seem like that nice to watch, but you just watch it because you never know what can happen.
Yep. Absolutely. Like I think last night. No, not last night's game. Sunday night's game. The who is it? Broncos and Commanders. We
Yeah.
thought the Broncos would just destroy them, but the Commanders with a backup quarterback still made a run, and it was 27-26. Like that's the kind of football you want to see. Like every game is much watch TV, like you said.
Yeah, definitely for sure. But I got two games that caught my eye. The first game, us being Cowboys fans, I know that we were happy Thanksgiving. I think that Cowboys Chiefs game honestly stole the show on Thanksgiving with the three slated games. You
Yep.
had a good quarterback duel between Dak Prescott and Patrick Mahomes. They were battling back and forth for all four quarters of the game. But I
Yep.
said last week on the podcast, I was like, the Cowboys got the Chiefs. They just can't start off slow like they did against Philly. They did in their in their opening possession with Dak throwing an interception, but then we recovered well and played well for the rest of the game. I mean, Dak Prescott threw two touchdowns, over 300 passing yards, and
Yep.
CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens, they're 1-2. They're like a perfect 1-2 punch at the wide receiver position. And all game long, Trent McDuffie and company for other defensive backs on the Kansas City Chiefs team, they had a hard time covering them. But I thought that was a really good game. But I think Brian Schottenheimer is starting to get the feel of the NFL, what it's like to be an NFL head coach. I think he's on his way to being a good head coach.
Yep.
He knows how to build a winning culture because this team was 3-5-1, and now they're high as a forest fire. You just beat the two teams that were in the Super Bowl last year, the Eagles and Chiefs, on a three-game winning streak, past two tests, massive tests, in a matter of 4 days. And you overcame the 21-0 deficit against the Eagles. You just defeated Kansas City Chiefs in a close game. Now you know how to win close games, you know how to blow out teams, and you know how to play from behind. So
Yep.
I think if we beat the Detroit Lions Thursday, we are going to be a team that nobody's going to want to see because we're going to be favored for the rest of the season.
Yep. I agree. We are catching our run at the right time. This is the time to do it. You like you said, I think we are battle tested. We've shown up against great teams these last few weeks and shown that we deserve to be in the conversation, regardless of record. Dak is catching his stride. The running game is catching his stride. And most importantly for us, our defense is catching their stride. And
Yeah, yeah.
the biggest thing that anybody could ask for as a Cowboy fan, because we knew that was our Achilles heel. If we could put up 100 points, but the other team will put up 101, and that that ain't doing nobody any good. So the fact that everybody knows as a Cowboy fan that I am a very big Jerry critic, but I have to give credit where credit is due. He made moves this off. I mean this off season and during the trade deadline to get us some guys for that defense, and it's working. Quentin Williams is showing up. Our guy Overshown is back healthy. Wilson, like he's. I gotta give credit where credit is due. I'm not the biggest Jerry fan, but I gotta give credit where credit is due.
Yeah, I'm really critical about Jerry Jones too, but like you said, like he's not that guy that like over years I can't name one free agent splash that we had in a long time. And that's sad being a Cowboys fan. But
Absolutely.
like your credit for what you just said, like during the off season, like we're in the month of May, and you just out of nowhere, boom, George Pickens, and you're just like, I
Yep.
know the Micah Parsons because that was my favorite player until he got
Yep.
dealt. I was upset about it, but then you kind of like he might be playing chess instead of checkers here with the moves
Mm-hmm.
he's making, I honestly think if Michael was there, as good as a player he is, the defense wouldn't be as good as it is right now because you plugged
Without
in a lot of holes and a lot of players have came back from injury. So yeah, it's fun to be a Dallas Cowboys fan right now. I agree with the points you said.
absolutely. And for all you haters out there that is trying to rain on our parade, too bad. All right. You guys, I don't know why you guys are trying to rain on our parade. I guess it's because we're the Cowboys, but a lot of you guys don't make sense in your arguments of what you guys are saying. You guys are saying, oh, you guys are celebrating the Eagles win. This is your Super Bowl and things like that. When you know, if your team was in our position and they were winning games like how we have been the last few weeks, you would be doing the same thing for your team. So cut it out, guys.
Yeah, yeah, that's facts. And then the last game, we just talked about it a few moments ago. That Sunday night game between the Broncos and Commanders. That
Oh,
was a really good game. That game ended in overtime, 27-26. I mean, the Broncos are 10-2. I think that's the one of the best 10-2 teams I've seen in a long time because they're good offensively, they're good defensively, and they can win in one possession games, and that's really important because they won 9 straight in a row.
yep,
And with some huge comeback wins in the fourth quarter, they know how to close out ball games, and they did it against the Commanders. Now, I felt like it was going to be either a trap game for the Broncos or it was going to be a BTA special by the Broncos giving it to the Commanders. But in the second half, the game picked up. Traylon Burks had that amazing one-hand catch. I think that was one of the best catches that we've seen since Odell Beckham. Back
yep,
to the end zone. But Marcus Mariota, former first or second overall pick back in 2015, he turned back the clock. He was
yep,
dealing out there. He played his ass off to help the Commanders attempt to win this game. But at the end, he was just one throw away. If he just threw it over top of the defender, going
yeah,
for two, they would have won that game. But the Broncos, in overtime, it was 3-2 because they scored the touchdown first, and then the
yeah.
Commanders matched them with Terry McLaurin, but they just couldn't convert two. But yeah, I thought that was one of the best games from Week 13 for sure.
Absolutely. It was a shocker for me. Like you said, it was either going to be the Broncos destroy them or it could be an upset game for the Commanders. But we got a great game. We got a close game. This was a game that, like, for the most part, when it comes to the Broncos, I don't expect much from their offense. Let's put it that way. I know their defense is amazing. I don't
Yeah.
expect much from their offense besides in the fourth quarter, because that's when Bo Nix starts to wake up. But this game, he showed up pretty much the entire game. If they can be like that, and well, their defense wasn't as great as we're used to. So if they can be their defense being the best defense in the league, pretty much, and their offense being above average, they can be very, very dangerous going into the playoffs. But for me right now, I'm not 100% convinced on their offense yet, only because throughout the season, it's just been like you said, a lot of comebacks in the fourth quarter, which they're doing. So you got to give credit where credit is due. They are getting it done. But it still worries me that in the playoffs, it's a lot harder to come back in those games. It's a lot harder. The games are a lot more the way the coaches prepare and the way they their game plans and stuff. It's a lot more time clock management and stuff like that. So it'll be a lot harder to do that in a playoff game, especially with a second year. I think he is. He's in his second year, right? Or is he in
Yeah, Bo Nix, yeah.
second year? So, but you still have Sean Payton, who's a veteran Super Bowl winning coach. So you never know. One of my best friends, he's a Broncos fan, so he's on that train. I'm tired of hearing him, but and they beat us. They destroyed the Cowboys. Um, I'm not yet sold, but there's still time. There's still time for me to believe that the Broncos can really make a deep run.
Yeah, that's a fair point about them because there's a lot of fourth quarter comebacks, and 9 times out of 10, you get it up in the playoffs like that. You got to be someone like spectacular, like a Patrick Mahomes, a Joe Burrow. You got to be
Yep,
elite quarterback to overcome that. And I don't put Bo Nix in that elite category yet. He's still growing. There's
yep,
still flaws in his game, but he's showing growth. But I do like that point of if you fall behind like that in the playoffs with that defense you got 9 times out of 10, your run is going to be over because there's going to be a lot of elite teams that aren't going to play around with a lead like that.
yep,
I actually that is a good point you said because teams like I mean that 26-8
Yeah.
collapse the Giants had. You ain't gonna see nobody like the Giants in the playoffs. Philly, they're a different story too. We'll probably talk about them soon.
Right.
But yeah, that's a good point about the Broncos. So I'm definitely gonna pay more attention to detail. I
Yeah.
watch them, but I'm gonna definitely pay more attention to detail with clock management and things like that
Yep.
because the dance is coming up soon in the next 5 6 weeks.
Absolutely. So they better be prepared. You got to let the young man, uh, sling the rock. I'm not, from my perspective, I could be completely wrong, but it looks like to me that Sean Payton doesn't fully trust Bo Nix, and that's understandable. He's a second year player, but we've seen a lot of glimpses of him looking really good. So you got to let him get more comfortable, especially going down the stretch, so he can feel 100% comfortable going into the playoffs.
Yeah, I think that's a correct answer for Sean Payton and company. Since the playoffs are right around the corner.
Yep.
But we'll go ahead and move on to the next segment here. So we'll be sharing our NFC contenders or pretenders list. So Jones, how this is going to work is I'll name a team that's all teams I'm going to mention are 500 or above. We won't mention the bottom feeding teams right now because they're basically out of it. So we'll go over every team that's above 500 and we'll go over if they're contenders or pretenders or not.
All right. I
So
like it.
right off the bat, we're coming off hot. Philadelphia Eagles, contenders or pretenders?
They are contenders, but there's a big but there. They could be pretenders. Let me put it that way. And that's not my bias and my for the Cowboys or my hate for the Eagles. That's just based off of what I'm watching. The reason why I say contender is because they're coming off of Super Bowl win and they still have pretty much the same team. They have a on paper they have a great team. They have a lot of great players on the team. On the field has looked a little bit different. They've been very inconsistent for me, especially on that offense. That offense has not looked anywhere close to what we thought they would look like last year. Like last year, they were unbelievable, especially with Saquon, but it hasn't looked like that this year. So that's why I'm like, they could be a contender. A pretender disguised as a contender. But I'll give them credit where credit is due. They're 8-5 or 8-4, whatever the record is. Um,
Yeah.
and they have halves where they've looked really good, and they have beaten some really good teams. So I will give credit where credit is due. I'm gonna say they are a contender, a pretender, disguised as a contender.
Yeah, I like that answer. What I call them, if I can't come to a sense of what I call them contender or pretender, I call them tweeners. So that's what I'm gonna call the
Yep,
Eagles. I'm
I
gonna
like.
call them tweeners because, like you just said, they are 8-4. They're the reigning defending Super Bowl champions. But if I take away that experience that you got winning it all last year, I'm not convinced on this team because what you just got the answer. If the defense can't bail them out, who the hell are the Philadelphia Eagles?
Exactly.
Because Kevin Patulio, their offensive coordinator, he has been trash all year long. I know they're missing Kellen Moore more than ever right now.
Oh
And
my God.
I felt like he's misused talent all year long, like Jalen Hurts. You can get way more out of Jalen Hurts. I know the offensive line isn't as strong and they're dealing with injuries up front.
Yep.
But X factors, like you just said, Saquon Barkley's not running the football as effectively. He's not hitting the holes as effectively like he just was a 2,000-yard rusher last year.
Yep.
AJ Brown is not getting enough targets. You see him complaining like a diva every time a microphone's in his face. But yeah, like it seems like the offensive players shy away from big moments in games. And Kevin Patulio and their Eagles offense right now, they rank 28th in the NFL in offensive success rate, which is bad. So the last two performances I just seen, you go back a Sunday ago against the Dallas Cowboys on the road, you're up 21-0 in the second quarter. You allow the Dallas Cowboys to score 24 unanswered points. You score
Mm.
0 points in the second half. That's not good. Then you get a beat down Friday night or Friday for the Black Friday game against the Chicago Bears at home. Like I don't have a good feeling about this team. And Jones, I got something that I've been thinking about. I think this we could be going back to 2023 where the Eagles just collapsed. They
Woo.
they fumbled the division and we just scooped it up. I think it can happen. I think it can happen. I think they're still going to win games like probably their last 2 out of 3 games or 2 out of 3 games. I give them two,
Yeah,
3 wins out of the next five. But I'm telling you, if we win that game against the Lions, we're gonna win out, and
yeah,
they better be prepared because we're only a game behind them. So
yeah, exactly.
I do not feel good about this Eagles team right now. I would hit the panic move if I was a Philadelphia Eagles fan. Plus,
What?
I don't know if you've seen it yesterday. Philly fans are just built different. Like that's why I
Yeah,
said I can go anywhere to see the Dallas Cowboys, but I'll never go to Philly to see a Cowboys Eagles game because
no,
their fans are just so delusional. Like they found Kevin Patulia's address and they were throwing rocks at his house, bro. That's unheard of. Like, what's your thoughts on that?
that I didn't even know that. That's my first time hearing that. That's disgusting. Like that. I was just on a this over the summer. I was on a House of Highlights episode where I was arguing with or debating with a Eagles fan, and that was one of my things. I'm like, your fans are horrible, man.
Yes.
Your fans are horrible. You guys don't really. It's the city of brotherly love, but where's the love? Because that's what I'm looking for. I don't see the love at all. You guys are beating up Santa Claus, beating up anybody that comes into your city that wears the opposite jersey, and now you're beating up your coach. Like, what are we doing? What are we doing? Not literally beating them up, but you guys know what I mean. Like
Yeah.
harassing them and doing stuff that just not necessary. Is he doing a bad job? Absolutely he is. But there's a lot of blame to go around. It's not just him. There's a lot of blame to go around. Nick Sirianni can take a lot of blame as well. Jalen Hurts, Saquon, there's enough blame to go around. So those fans, they got to get it together. But what do you expect? They're Philly fans. That's what they do. They're crazy. Yes,
Yeah, they're insane, man. But I'm praying for the downfall as we speak. Um,
sir.
next team, our Dallas Cowboys, contenders or pretenders?
Oh man, I'm back and forth with this one, man, because I want to believe that this is a team that can actually really go on a run and make a strong push in the playoffs. And the way we look right now, 1,000% looks like it. We can be a contender. But I've seen this story before. I've
Yeah,
seen this story before. I've seen us look great, look like one of the best teams in the NFL, and then we go and play a team that is under 500, and then we look like a team that's under 500. Like
yeah.
that's where I'm stuck at right now. But the way I'm feeling right now, I'm gonna say contender because I like the additions to our defense. That's really why I'm going to say it is because of our defense. Our defense over the last 3 weeks has looked amazing. The first week, I was like, all right, it's the Raiders. Everybody beats up on the Raiders. The Eagles will be a real test. We're down 21-0. I'm like, okay, here we go. Here we go. And then we go on a run and come back 24 zip. Wow. Okay. That's really impressive. Our defense shut them out after that 21 start. Beautiful. Now we got the Chiefs, high powered offense, the baby goat, Patrick Mahomes, Andy Reid. They're going to figure it out, and they're under pressure right now trying to make the playoffs. This is a must win game for them. Are we going to step up to the challenge? And we stepped up. Like, very impressed the way we play. I'm at contender. I will be even more a contender if we beat Detroit. If we beat Detroit, I'll feel a lot better. And then if we beat the Chargers, now that all depends on if Justin Herbert is playing or not. If Justin is playing and we beat them, their defense is pretty good. Like you said, I'm 1,000% behind you. We will win out. I think because then, I mean, we might lose against Washington once because we play them twice, and it's a division game.
Yeah.
That those are always tricky, but I could definitely 1,000% see us winning out if we stay consistent in how we're playing. If we go backwards to the way we played against the Bears or I think the Cardinals, then
Yeah.
uh, I'm gonna throw my hands up and say, all right, we're back to the Cowboys that we're used to. But right now, contender.
Yeah, it's been an up and down season because, like you said, I've seen the story a million times as a fan. And I think I still, mentally as a football fan, have not recovered from that 2023-24 playoff game against the Packers. Like that year, everything played out. You get home field advantage as the second seed. You win the division with the Eagles collapse, and then just a massacre happened against the Packers. But I think this team can't. I think they are contenders right now because I've seen the growth. Like I said, 3-5-1. You win three in a row. You're showing how you can blow out teams, how you can win close ball games, how you can play from behind. And they've had one of the best offenses all year long with Dak Prescott. I think Brian Schottenheimer has coached his ass off, play calling, the 1-2 punch for CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens. The offensive line has been growing since week one. And we've been playing with injuries. We haven't been healthy all year long, but Javonte Williams has stepped up. Offense has never been an issue. It's
Yeah.
always been the defense. And the defense, they couldn't stop a cold until that Quinion Williams trade. But now they're showing they can stop the run. They're showing they could get the third down stop with some generating some pass rush. So I think if they can continue, I mean, it's going to be hard to win out. But if you can win out, that's something to be proud of. But
Absolutely.
I think this team is here because that Eagles and Chiefs game to me was everything I needed to see for the remainder of the season. Like, yeah, Detroit's still on there. I'm not. That's a W against the Vikings. That's a whole different story.
Oh yeah.
That's a W there. But if you could beat Detroit and if you could beat the Chargers, I will 100% 10 tones down say we're contenders this year. But
Yep.
like you said, it's all when you get to the dance because we all seen this story before with the Cowboys. So the truth will be told as the weeks go on. But right now, I feel really good. I'm gonna say contenders about the Cowboys.
I like it. And I got to give credit where credit is due. Shout out to Schottenheimer. I wasn't the biggest fan going into the season with him being the hire, but he's shut me up. He definitely is a chip off his pops block. Like he's a very smart offensive play caller and a good coach. The way he's got those guys put together and not giving up on the season, that's a sign of a good coach. So shout out to him.
Yeah, I agree with that. Next team, Chicago Bears, contenders or pretenders?
Woo! Now, first, I would normally say a pretender, but they have been looking very impressive as of late. They haven't. The beginning of the season, it looked like they didn't really beat anybody outside of us, but we didn't have our defense at that time, so it's tough to say on that part. But the last few weeks, they've been beating some pretty good teams. Caleb Williams hasn't been what I really want to see. He's played great in moments, but I, I'm gonna say pretender. I'm gonna say pretender on this one.
Oh,
They might be the one team that I'm like, ugh, like the last few weeks withstanding, they've been good, but Caleb Williams still hasn't, to me, hasn't reached that threshold to where I'm impressed to where I'm like, all right, he can lead them on a deep playoff run. He's going to lead them to the playoffs. I think they get in. I don't know, first round unless they get Philly again. I don't know. I don't know. I think any team outside of them, maybe the Packers, because the Packers have been inconsistent as well. But other than that, I don't know. So I'm going to go pretender on this one.
well, this one's tough. I'll swing the contender, but not by much. Like they're teetering back and forth to me. I'll swing the contender only because how this team started off. They did start off 0-2, and now you're
Yeah.
9-3, first place in the NFC North. Now, like you said, we still are trying to figure out who Caleb Williams is. I don't know if he's underrated or overrated just yet. But
Right.
when you have a boy genius and Ben Johnson calling plays for you, you get saved.
Yes.
So the play has been up to par. He is starting to grow on me a little bit, but I would have liked that they would have beat more contending teams. You can only play who's on your schedule. Like the only standout win to me is that Eagles game. That was a statement win on the road. Now
Yes.
everybody else, like you could say the Cowboys was a big win for them, but like you said, our defense was just horrible at that point.
Oh my God.
I I mean, if you want to say the Steelers a marquee win, but I don't think Pittsburgh's
Yeah.
anybody special this year either.
Yeah.
So yeah, I consider them contenders, but not by much. But I will say I do like their defense.
Yeah,
Dennis Allen was one hell of a defensive coordinator. Has been one hell of a defensive coordinator for this year for them. One hell of a hire.
yeah.
And their defense has been healthy all year long, so the defense can bail them out in situations, and they can run the ball. Like they got a 1-2 punch running the football too. But I want to see if that inexperience comes to play or not, depending on who they play in the playoffs, if they can still win this division and who they'll play. I think answers will be told then, but I'll lean towards them being contenders right now.
Again, I'm not mad at it. I'm not mad at it. They're impressive. They're impressive.
Next team, Green Bay Packers, contenders or pretenders?
That's another pretender for me. Unfortunately, I want to believe
Mm.
in them, but again, it goes back to the quarterback, Jordan Love. I'm just not sold yet. I'm not sold. He has the potential to be a great quarterback, but he's another inconsistent quarterback for me. He's a roller coaster. He has moments like last week against the Lions. He has their number. He's great against them, but then I forgot. There's been a few games where they played some bad teams and he just doesn't look good. Turn over the ball, especially when he turns over the ball, it's like it's over. If he turns over the
Yeah.
if he turns over the ball like at least once, there's a good shot the Packers are going to lose because he's going to end up turning over the ball a lot more after that. But their defense gives me hope for them. Defense, Micah Parsons and that crew has definitely been playing lights out, keeping games close. That's why I feel like they've been winning a lot of games because that defense has been keeping them in it, and the offense has been having sparks. But I think for me, right now, I got the Packers winning one playoff game, and that's it. They're going to lose in the second round.
Mm. Yeah, I'm looking at the Packers here, and I'm about to make my choice on this because once you started talking about their inconsistency, I was like, let me look back at how their games have gone. Yeah. Ugh. Okay. I'm gonna go with them being tweeners. I'm back and forth
I,
on the Packers. I think Jordan Love is a good quarterback, but he has been inconsistent this year. I would have thought I would have seen more out of him this year. I just haven't. Um, Josh Jacobs has been all right this year.
yeah, he's been all right.
The running game really isn't that special for them. So offensively, I honestly think that they're not. They're like in the middle of being good and bad right now.
Yeah,
With a defense like that in a pass rush, you always got a shot. Like Micah Parsons, that trade for them has been playing out, and
yep,
he really showed out Thanksgiving against the Lions. Just destroyed the defensive line, 3 sacks. But they're 8-3, and then when you look at some of these losses, that it doesn't look good. Like the loss against the Browns,
yep,
that don't look good.
nope.
The home loss against the Panthers, not a
Oh,
good look either. A scrappy Monday night game that they had a few weeks ago against Philly. You lose that game at home. I
yep,
thought at situations at times they could have scored more than 7 points in
absolutely.
that game. But yeah, it's just like I don't know who they are. Or
And
excuse
then
me,
you
I
tie
said
to
eight and
us.
three. 8-3-1. I forgot they played us too.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I could tell you about that one. Actually flew out to Dallas for that one, and
Oh, that's awesome.
oh yeah, them Packers fans was just annoyed. When they had the lead, they was chirping.
Oh,
But when we was
absolutely.
coming back, oh man, they was on mute at that point. But yeah, I totally forgot we played them for a second. Yeah, actually, I'm gonna actually switch that to pretenders because that was when our defense was not that good, and you found a
Exactly.
way to tie. All right, I completely forgot they played us. I can't believe I forgot that. All right. Yeah, tweeners, just because everything I said, and you tie with a horrible defense that you could have easily put away right then and there. Okay,
Yep.
tweeners. Yeah, I think they can still win this division,
Yeah.
but if you get a draw like someone like San Francisco in the first round, I think even if we were a wild card, I think we might have to win a division to get in. But even if we got a wild card spot and they play us in the first round, I think we can deal them out in Lambeau Field too.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I definitely think seeing them again, we can get them. We can definitely get them.
Yeah.
I would.
Um, Detroit Lions next team,
Uh,
contenders or pretenders?
I want to believe in them so badly, but I don't think I can, man. I'm gonna have to go pretenders. I'm on a streak on pretenders right now. Um, Yeah, they just don't look like the Lions of old. I know they're dealing with some injuries. Laporta's out. St. Brown might be out this game. Oh yeah, they play us. Um, Jared Goff hasn't been looking as efficient as he usually is. This team just doesn't. Obviously, the defense hasn't been wasn't really great that last year. They've had their moments this year, but for the most part, not really. Like they've been very inconsistent. I think Campbell hasn't been as good of a coach this year. I think he's made some questionable decisions. So I'm gonna go pretender. I think this team is dealing with some injuries, and I think they might have missed their window to go get it unless they go,
Mm.
ramp up over this off season, especially on the defensive side. They might have missed their window because this it looks like this team is degressing instead of progressing. So yeah, I'm going pretender.
Yeah, I agree with you. I actually like everything that you said. I'm gonna call them pretenders as well. They're sitting at 7-5 and they're dealing with a lot of injuries. Like the offensive line all year long has not looked as strong as it did a year or so ago when I considered them to have a top five offensive line.
Yep.
And they rank towards the bottom of the league. I think 27th or 28th in pass protection. So Jared Goff is like, if he's sitting back there for 2 seconds and the ball's not out, or he ain't moving against a good pass rush, they're in trouble. And Thursday night, I think we're to get home to Jared Goff. So when you have an offensive line like that, it decreases your chance of victory. And they're dealing with a lot of injuries, like you said. Like Sam Laporta is out for the year. Kirby Joseph, one of their best safeties, he's got a bad knee injury too. Not looking good for him. St. Brown might not even play uh, Thursday against the Dallas Cowboys. And Dan Campbell, like you said, has done a lot of questionable things as a head coach. I think he's a tremendous coach,
Yep.
but you take the play over the play calling duties offensively, and other than that Commanders game, I'm not seeing the same high powered offense that I've seen from the Lions over
Nope.
the last few years. So, yeah, I think honestly, until you said that, I never thought about that. They actually might have missed their window when they went
Yeah.
on that run to the NFC Championship, and last year when they were 15-2 with the number one seed.
Yep.
Yeah, I think they might have missed their opportunity because now the division is just going to be red hot from here on out.
Exactly. Exactly. You got to deal with Caleb now. You got to, and that Bears team getting better. You got to deal with the Packers. I believe they'll be in the conversation every year. Um, who am I missing?
The Vikings, but
Vikings.
they're just a quarterback problem.
Yeah, they got a quarterback problem. So right
You
now,
get one, they'll be right back in there next year.
exactly, absolutely.
Next team, Tampa Bay Buccaneers, contenders or pretenders?
They looked like contenders at the beginning of the season, but they're another team that's dealing with a couple injuries as well. Baker, he's grown on me a whole lot over these past few years. He's been cooking, but like I said, he's dealing with that team. I feel like is dealing with a couple injuries, and they just haven't been looking as confident as they had the beginning of the season. Even those games, I got to be honest. The beginning of the season, they were winning a lot of close games, and now they're not winning
Yep.
those games. So I think they probably still win that division. Well, Carolina's catching up on them too.
Yeah.
Carolina's is creeping up on them. So I and the way they've been playing, I hope. Actually, I want to look now. Do they play again?
Yeah, they play. Actually, I don't think they. Hold on. I think they haven't played each other yet. They got to
Oh,
play each other twice before the season ends.
ooh, hold on. I gotta see when that
Yeah,
is.
it's going to be a race for that
Oh
NFC South
yeah,
now.
this two. They got two more games. They're playing another 2 weeks, December 21st, and then January 4th. So yeah, those are going to be huge games.
I could possibly get the Sunday night game for Week 18. The
Yeah.
winner takes all. Winner gets in. Division winner, losers out.
Woo!
Might be it.
That might be it. I'm going with Pretender again. Unfortunately, I'm sorry to say it, Bucks. But yeah, I don't think um, their team is as strong as some of the other top contending teams in the NFC. Even though the NFC is wide open, the AFC is wide open. But well, I wouldn't say wide open, but the I think the NFC is wide open. I would say the NFC is more wide open than the AFC. But that being said, I don't think the Bucks are the team to extend and make a deep playoff run. They might not even make the playoffs, like you said. It might come down to week 18 against the Panthers. And I'll be honest, right now, I'm going with the Panthers on that one.
Yeah, that's gonna be. I honestly think that could be the Sunday night game that
I
winner
hope it
takes
is.
all.
I hope it is.
Yeah, that might be it. For the Bucks, I'll probably say tweeners. Now, like to your point, like this team was red hot to start off the season. You played some shaky teams. Well, yeah, 2 out of 3 of your first games were
Yeah.
shaky teams, and you had game-winning drives against the Falcons, the Texans, the Jets. So you start off 3-0, and then you start off the season 5-1.
Yeah.
Now you sit at 7-5 with the Carolina Panthers right behind you to possibly steal the division from you. So they've been
Yep.
inconsistent at times, and they haven't showed up against the top teams as of late, losing close games against the Patriots, the Bills. I don't like that. And you got a real test a few weekends ago against the Los Angeles Rams, and they destroyed you.
Yep.
But I feel like the Bucks, the only shot they got is if Baker Mayfield comes to save the day. If he doesn't, what happens after that? So that's why I feel like they can do some work and they can still win this division, but I just consider them tweeners based off of the Carolina Panthers, which
Yeah.
is going to be the next team we're going to go into, the Carolina Panthers. Contenders or pretenders?
It's crazy to say that they're even in the conversation. Like that excites me that the Panthers are even in the conversation. Um, but that being said, they're not ready to make a deep playoff run. I think they have the shot, like we just spoke about with the Bucks, to make the playoffs. That being said, I don't think they're good enough to beat those teams and that will be in the playoffs. Could they get a first round surprise? Very possible, very possible. But I'm gonna doubt it. But that being said, regardless if they make the playoffs or not, a job well done for the Carolina Panthers. Carolina Panthers. I think if they, whether they fall a game short, 2 games short, they should all go into that locker room, leaving the season feeling proud of themselves and feeling having something positive to look forward to going into the next season. But no, I don't think they're an actual contender to go win a Super Bowl or anything like that. But will they surprise a team maybe in the first round if they make the playoffs? I think it's possible. I think it's on the board.
Yeah, I agree with that point as well. I think they're tweeners, and I think this is a team that's starting to figure out who they actually are at 7-6. Now, I'm surprised. This has actually been one of the most surprising teams to follow all year long because
Yeah.
they've been up and down, I'm trying to figure out who they are. But I think that statement victory that they had at home against the Rams, I'm starting to believe in them a little bit. And they got some impressive victories over the season. They defeated the Packers on the road,
Yep.
really close game, but they got the win. The Cowboys earlier in the season got that home win, and then the Rams. So I'm
Yep.
starting to believe in them just a little bit, and they can run the football like offensively. Like Rico
Oh,
Dowell, our former running back for the Dallas Cowboys, Chuba Hubbard. They got to figure out like Rico is obviously your number one, and Chuba's
right.
your number two. That comes down to the offensive coordinator figuring that out. They got a solid defense, and Bryce Young isn't someone that I'm jumping over hoops to defend as a quarterback, but
Right.
someone that was benched and basically written off when he got benched for Andy Dalton last year.
Yep.
He has shown growth and has showed up to play in big spots in games. And now they're in place to possibly steal a division from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I don't think they'll go on a deep playoff run. I think that ultimately could be a first round exit. But this
Yeah.
is a team that you can't sleep on. So that's why I said Tweener is a perfect answer for them.
Absolutely. I 1000% agree.
Yeah, they're going to be interested. I think over the next couple of years, they could be a team that eventually is a top heavyweight contender in the NFC if they continue to build.
Absolutely. They just got to build. That's all they should start think. Well, obviously take care of this season, but in the off season, definitely should be thinking about, all right, how can we improve what we already have? We don't need to rebuild or anything like that. We have a good team. We just got to fill in the holes where we lack it. And once they do that, like you said, I agree. They'll be a team that you have to watch for in the upcoming seasons.
Yeah, so it's definitely going to be interesting to see how their development goes in the next couple of years. So we got two more teams in the NFC. I think we're going to be in agreement for the next one. Los Angeles Rams, contenders or pretenders?
Contenders, contenders, contenders. Right now, they're my favorite to win the Super Bowl. even though they lost to the Panthers. Got to give credit where credit is due. Panthers beat them fair and square. But I also think, Matthew Stafford helped them out a little bit. Some horrible. I think the first interception was off somebody, and the first one was off ricocheted off of somebody. The second one was just a bad throw. You can't be late on an out. If you late, it's going six, and that's what happened. And then strip sacks. You got to protect the ball. So, but the Rams are, to me, the best team in the NFL still, even though they lost that game. I still think they're the best team in the NFL. Matthew Stafford, like you said earlier, is the front runner for MVP, and I think he'll still win it. That defense has been elite since last year, like second half of the season. They started getting rolling, and they're still rolling now. They have their moments where they look weak, but still one of the top defenses. And then you got Puka Nacua and Devontae Adams playing great ball. Puka Nacua had a catch yesterday that is in the conversation, or it's not yesterday, Sunday, in the conversation for catch of the year with a one-hander going.
Yeah, that was a nice one.
That was ridiculous. Like, and he's been one of the best, if not the best receiver in the league this year. So I think they have that hunger of losing last year to the Eagles, and they felt like they could have won that game. And then they lost this year when they had them beat, and then lost that game. I think they are in a great position to go on a deep run and possibly go win the Super Bowl again.
Yeah, I like that answer. I'm gonna go with contenders, and I think still, despite the loss, they're 9-3 in a competitive NFC West division. I still think they're the best team in football, and of course, you always got a chance when you have the experience. They just won it a few years ago with Matthew
Yep.
Stafford and Sean McVay. So when you have the veteran experience from a future Hall of Fame quarterback in Matt Stafford, a great head coach in Sean McVay, your 1-2 punches at receiver, and Puka Nacua and Devontae Adams that he has tremendous chemistry with. Like, you always got a shot. And
Yep.
right now he's playing at an MVP level. Over 3,000 passing yards, 32 passing touchdowns, 4 interceptions with a top 5 total QBR in the league. Like, you're always going to have a chance. And they most likely, LA, they don't really have a home field advantage, but they'll probably be at home for the playoffs for a
Right.
majority of the playoffs. So I think they're definitely contenders right now in the NFC.
Absolutely.
I actually lied. Two more teams. Seattle Seahawks, contenders or pretenders?
Oh, you know what? I'm gonna go tweener on that one. That
Ooh.
for sure. I'm gonna go tweener because I think they're a great team. Great team, both sides of the ball. My question goes back to quarterback. What are we going to see come playoff time? Are we going to see the Sam Darnold of last year in the Vikings, his last game in the playoffs? Are we going to see that, or are we going to see the quarterback that we saw for most of this year and most of last year with the Vikings? Like, that's my biggest question with the Seattle Seahawks. I think they have a shot if Sam Darnold can play good, because everything else is fine. They got a good running game, good receiver core. Their defense is solid. Who's their coach right now?
Mike McDonald.
Mike McDonald. He's been doing a good job. My question is Sam Darnold. What are we going to get from him? If we get, like I said, what we've been seeing for most of this season, I think he had maybe 1 or 2 games where he looked pretty bad, like 3 interceptions or 4, and they almost won that game. That just shows how good that team is. That's my biggest question. It comes down to the quarterback. Is he going to be smart and not turn over the ball? But if he doesn't, I give them a great shot as for anybody in that NFC.
Yeah, that's a lot of good points about the Seahawks because I was about to just fire up and say contenders. I still think they are contenders, but that quarterback position in this year's NFC playoff race, you're going to need a elite quarterback to get to at least to the NFC Championship.
Yep.
Now, we could see that Sam Darnold come out to play again, the real Sam Darnold, because that's a good point because the Vikings were 14-3 I
Yeah.
was so sold on Sam Darnold. I'm like, this is the
Yep.
guy the Vikings were looking for
Yep.
since Kirk Cousins. And then I saw that Lions game, the Week 18. You fumbled the division. Then I saw that wild card game against the Rams. I'm like, oh, here it is, the real one. But
Yep.
I I just don't know what Sam Darnold's going to show up. I don't know because they got an outstanding team there, outstanding on
Yeah.
both sides of the ball. Mike McDonald. I know Baltimore Ravens fans are kicking the couches, kicking themselves in the face because that's really the guy that should have replaced John Harbaugh, and you could have
Yeah.
given John Harbaugh a job up in the front office because that's a head coach that you want for the next 5 to 10 years, competing for Super Bowls and winning Super Bowls. But he's been a good head coach there in Seattle, built a winning culture there. Sam Darnold, it just comes down to him because Jackson Smith, the Jingba, he's like nearly
Woo.
unguardable. I think he's been
Woo.
the best receiver all year.
Yep.
It might come down to who you match up against because I think the Rams ultimately win this division, so that could put them as the fifth seed as a wild card team. And you play the winner of the NFC South. I think you can win that. But
Yep.
then what Sam Darnold are you going to get in the divisional round? I think that's the most important thing about the Seahawks. I'll
Yep.
call them contenders, but I do agree with the points that you said about Sam Darnold. Which Sam Darnold are we going to get come
Ab-
playoff time?
Absolutely. They like, yeah. I think if it wasn't for Sam Darnold, I would agree with you as far as going contender because that's what I was thinking at first, and then I was like, let me slow down because Sam, we don't know which one yet. So, but yeah, I like your answer.
All right, yeah. Final team, San Francisco 49ers, contenders or pretenders?
It's a good one too. These are some good ones. 49ers. They've been a good team, and Brock Purdy has looked good at moments, and then there's moments where he hasn't looked good.
Yes.
Oh man, 49. And as a Cowboy fan, I hate them, but I'm not going to be biased right now. That's a good one. That is a good one. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go contender. I'm gonna give them
Okay.
credit. I'm gonna go contender on this one. They've been very, I want to say very impressive, but and yeah, you know what? I'll go very impressive because I was very down on the 49ers this year because of all the what's the word I'm looking for? They lost a lot of people on their defense, and
Hmm.
you lose your best defensive player. Um, I was like, all right, this season is pretty much over. I don't expect Brock Purdy to, lead this team. And then Brock goes down, and Mac Jones comes in. I'm like,
Yep.
definitely not going to be able to hold it up with Mac Jones, and they do it. So I'm like, you know what? I gotta, you know what? They proved me wrong this season. So then they made me a believer. I'm gonna be a believer in the 49ers. I don't know. I want to say contender to win the whole thing, but I think they have the shot to make a good playoff run, a deep playoff run. I can see them. Like I said, I think the NFC is wide open. I think they have a shot to make the NFC Championship, especially when you got a coach like uh, Shanahan.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think they're contenders, and I'm shocked they are 9-4. I still question how the hell are they 9-4 this NFL season? Because, like you said, injuries all year long. Like Brock Purdy goes down, then Mac Jones comes in and wins you a couple ball games. Then you're like, damn. Then
Yeah.
you look at the defensive side of the ball, like you said, best players like Nick Bosa, Fred Warner.
Yep.
Even going back to the offensive side of the ball, a tight end like George Kittle, one of the best tight ends in the league, goes down.
Yeah.
They've been hit left and right, and somehow, some way, they're still standing tall at 9-4 with a shot to still win this division. Like
Yeah.
it's crazy. They are a real NFL team of next man up. Like they have not looked back and haven't even complained all year long. Um,
Absolutely.
I give credit to Kyle Shanahan bringing back his former defensive coordinator
Yep.
Robert Saleh. I think he has coached his ass off this year. I think he should definitely be in the running to get a head coaching position
Yep.
during the offseason because even with your star defensive players going down, you're still getting turnovers weekly. You're still collecting
Yep.
sacks in the sack column. You're still winning ball games. That goes to how good coaching they are on both sides of the ball. Like I don't know. See, the NFC, whoever gets a wild card spot, you're gonna end up getting a bad draw. If you're
Yeah.
the seventh, sixth, or fifth seed, that's just how, or the seventh or sixth seed, that's just how it's gonna go. I
Yep.
don't know if they can win a playoff game or more, but with that experience and the coaching they got, I gotta consider them contenders this year.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, so I think actually between the NFC and AFC, I think the NFC is actually going to be more entertaining to watch
Yeah.
compared to the AFC this year for the playoffs.
Absolutely. That's going to be the playoffs is going to be a lot of fun to watch this year. A lot of fun.
Yeah. So we're going to move on to the next segment. We're actually going to pivot over here to the world of college football. I'm really interested to know your thoughts on this one, the Lane Kiffin going to LSU. So before I ask, you're a Pop Warner coach, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so yeah, that's perfect for this one. Because I want to know your thoughts on Lane Kiffin leaving. Well, actually, I'll ask you in two ways. First way, I'll ask you, how do you feel about Lane Kiffin leaving in a coach's perspective? And then overall, how do you feel about Lane Kiffin going to LSU?
Great question. For me, as the first question, from a coach perspective, I think it is horrible what he did. I am disgusted in the fact that he did that because being a coach, when you have your players believing in you, and especially when you're in position to make a run to go do something special for that team that hasn't done anything in a long time, and then just for you to up and walk out because and I get that there's a better opportunity for you, 1,000%. Nobody can question somebody going to make a better decision for themselves. I understand and I respect that. But as a coach of young men that look up to you, that believe in you, that some that have made life altering decisions to come play for you because of who you are, some guys had other opportunities at other universities to play for another coach or another team, and they chose to be there because of you. And you up and leave after, I think, a season, right?
Oh, he's been there. It's been about
Oh, he's
five
been there
years,
that
full
long. I didn't
five
know
years.
it's been
Yeah,
that long. Holy shit!
yeah. Time
Um,
flies.
sheesh, I thought it was been like 2 seasons at least. But okay, that's good. I'll dial back my what I said a little bit, but still, as a coach, it's like your guys believe in you. Your guys really trust you, and especially if you're making a run, especially when you're winning games and stuff like that, to up and leave. Uh, that really leaves a bad stain for not only the guys you're leaving, but the guys you're going to as well. They're going to look at you as well and say, "All right, yeah, you're coming to our team, and we respect that, and we love that." But in the back of their head, they're also going to question if you get another opportunity somewhere else, especially if things ain't looking good for us, will you up and leave us? Like that. That's always something that I've always thought about being a coach. I never wanted to just up and leave anybody, regardless of the situation that is being handed to me. I've always been thoughtful of the guys that I've coached, the kids that I've coached, the parents, everything, like everything that's involved. I don't just think about me. And I think this decision was more of a selfish decision. I don't think it was more I don't think he thought much about the players and the organization and the opportunity he has. I think it was more of a selfish decision. So that's my answer for the first one. And then overall, it kind of goes back to I kind of said what it said a little bit. I respect the decision overall. I get it. LSU is one of the, you know, most historic universities and college. It's a well-known college. It's big time. I get it, 1,000%. And it's right across. Are there rivalries? Ole Miss and LSU.
Yeah, they're in the
They're
SEC, so they're gonna play each other for a long time.
so that goes back to my other points of like you went to the rivalry. Like, come on, bro. But as a man making a decision for your family and stuff like that, I get it. I respect it. But overall, I'm not a fan of it.
Yeah, that's definitely going to be one of the biggest headlines for college football, all the way up until we get to the opening snap of next year. That's
Yep.
how controversial this was.
Yep.
Um, I think he made a good choice of going to LSU, like the perspective of generational money, like $100 million. You're putting your
Yeah.
family in a better position. As a coach, you're in better position to win a national championship and to get more resources to help you win a national title at LSU.
Hell yeah.
The thing about it is how you win about it, or you're going to be viewed as the biggest villain in college football from here on out because not only did you take the job and leave Ole Miss in the midst of their best season in program history, like you're sitting at 11-1 with a chance to go on the run in the college football playoffs, and you leave your team and everything that you built at Ole Miss right as we speak to go be the next head coach at LSU. Like you're leaving your players behind, you leaving half of your coaching staff behind. I think the way how he went about it is the offensive coaches that he said that he took with him. He basically said, "You're going to get on this private jet with me, or
Right.
you're not going to have a spot over at LSU once I start to build things." So I thought that was ridiculous. And what he built at Ole Miss was really special. Like we're talking about three straight 10-win seasons, 11-1. You're currently the sixth best team in the country, and then you just up and leave. So, like to your point, it's like, are these players over there at LSU, are these future recruits going to look at you and say, if things aren't going good in the next 3 to 5 years, they're just going to up and leave for the next hottest job? Because this man has been everywhere.
Yeah.
Former Raiders head coach, former Tennessee coach, former
Yep.
USC coach, on Alabama, Nick Saban's coaching staff, Florida Atlantic, Ole Miss. Like this man has been everywhere, and it ends in the same story. You either get fired or you go to the next hottest spot, the next hottest job. That's Lane Kiffin for you.
Same.
So at the end of the day, I don't think this is a bad choice. It's just how you went about it and your track record from, we're talking about like '06, '07,
Yeah.
nearly 20 years later, you still do the same thing. So when are you ever going to be happy? Because if it don't work at LSU, it ain't going to work anywhere. Not
Work.
anywhere.
Yep. Absolutely. I 1000% agree.
Yeah, so this could be like one of them chances where like this is your last chance to prove you could be
It's worth a
he's a
shot.
good coach, and I like his philosophy as an offensive coordinator, the RPO system that he runs. I think he's a good coach, but I think it's just character, like he's a good human being. It seems like, but it's just like you running away from what you built or running away to go to something better every time. It just don't make sense to me.
Yeah. Not a good look for him at all.
Yeah. So, do you think they can win a championship in the next 3 to 5 years, or what's your view on that?
I think they have definitely a good shot at it. But no, I don't think so. He's everywhere he's gone to. They've made some improvements and stuff like that, but nothing that's ever made me think, all right, that this Lane Kiffin led team is going to win a national championship. He just hasn't moved me like that. Like you said, he's been moved around a lot, so he hasn't done anything to impress me yet.
Yeah, I think he's got a shot, but at the same time, it ain't gonna be easy. Like you're still in the SEC with some
Come on,
other top tier teams. Like Alabama's still here, Texas is still here, Oklahoma is here.
yeah,
Ole Miss, I think they might take a drop back, but I think Ole Miss that's going to be a team that or a program that a lot of recruits that are looking, or a lot of high school kids or even people in the transfer portal are going to look like, hey, this is still the SEC. This is now an established program thanks to Lane
exactly.
Kiffin. Let me see if I can go ahead and go over here. So yeah, I definitely think there's a shot. I don't see it in the next 3 to 5 years because I it's just hard to win in college football at all. Like I don't see another dynasty being born. Like
Right. It's
it,
tough.
yeah, it's definitely going to be tough for Lane Kiffin to try win one at LSU.
Yep. Definitely gonna be tough.
Um, so we could go ahead and move on to the final segment. So we're gonna be sharing our college football conference championship predictions. So we'll go out of the 4 out of 5 games. We'll go Big 12. Well, first we'll go Big 12, SEC, Big 10, and then the ACC championship games. So first game, you got the Big 12 championship. You got BYU taking on Texas Tech. Who do you got winning that game?
Um, that's a good one. I like Texas Tech in that one. BYU has been a great football program. But it just seems like they every year they fall short when they having a good season. Um, Regardless of what that season looks like, it could be an undefeated season. Uh, Regardless of what it is, they just don't have any luck when it comes to the playoffs or before the playoffs when it was the BCS. They just haven't looked good in those positions. So I'm not confident in them. They could win this game, but I don't think so. I think Texas Tech. I haven't watched a lot of Texas Tech, but I've seen a few games from BYU, and I've heard only good things and from what I've seen from Texas Tech. So I'm gonna go lean towards Texas Tech.
Yeah, I'm agree with you. I got Texas Tech winning this game. They matched up against each other a month or so ago. Texas Tech won that game 29-7. I think it's
Woo!
going to be a more competitive game. But yeah, I like Texas Tech. I think we're going to see a coordinator battle here. Mac Leftwich, offensive coordinator for Texas Tech, taking on Jay Hill, defensive coordinator for BYU. That should be an interesting matchup. But I think Texas Tech will be more efficient offensively. In that first game, they scored 29 points, but there was a lot of field goals being scored. And I
Mm,
thought there was more opportunities for Texas Tech to score touchdowns in that game. So I think they'll score more touchdowns than more field goals in this game. But I think Texas Tech, they had a good game plan for the first game defensively. I think they'll win the turnover battle. Jacob Rodriguez, they got an outstanding, a standout linebacker there. He had a huge game in the first game against BYU. I think he's definitely going to have his presence being felt in this game. But I think they're definitely going to make it difficult. Like you said, BYU's been a good team all year long. They got a freshman quarterback there. I think he's going to be under duress and not going to do enough to win this game. So I think their season ends in terms of competing for a conference title and a national championship. I agree with you. I got Texas Tech winning that game.
yeah, I like Texas Tech.
Oh, next game. Georgia versus Alabama for the SEC title. Who you got winning that game?
Oh my God. Who? What's the ranking with that one?
You said the ranking?
Yeah.
I think Georgia is over top of Alabama right now. Let me
Uh,
double check that. Let's see the rankings right now. I definitely think both teams get into the playoffs.
yeah.
Let's see college football standings. I think they just updated them as we were recording. So yeah, that's good that you actually just said that.
Perfect.
All right, it's loading now. So you got no. Let me get SEC.
Nick.
So you got right now. No, not Big Ten. Hold up. All right, so right now, Alabama is the ninth best team in the country, and Georgia is the third best team in the country.
Okay, I figured I knew Georgia was high. Um, okay. Woo!
Yeah, so definitely about to be a good game here.
That's gonna be amazing. That's always a good one every year. I just think I'm gonna go Georgia with this one. Uh, they, I think it's gonna be fireworks throughout the game, but Georgia just has their number. I just think Georgia's just too strong, too physical, and that's just what it looks like pretty much every time they play. It's like Georgia is just the more physical, more dominant team, and I expect them to be the more physical and dominant team again in this game. So I'm going Georgia on this one.
Yeah, I was leaning back and forth all day long who to pick. I'm gonna go with Alabama for this game. I'm gonna go with
Okay.
Alabama. It's actually weird. Since the Kalen DeBoer era, since he's been the new head coach replacing Nick Saban when he rode off to the sunset, retired, Kalen DeBoer has defeated Kirby Smart in Georgia twice,
Mm,
and they could go up 3-0 on them since the Kalen DeBoer era, and they matched up earlier in the season. Alabama won a close game against Georgia. I just
mm,
feel like Ty Simpson, quarterback for Alabama and company, they're going to start off strong offensive like they did in the first matchup. And I think Georgia, they're a pretty good team. Don't get me wrong, they're a really good team. But I know Georgia has been a first or second half team all season long. If you don't
true,
start off fast against Alabama in this game, I think they could be in a world of trouble.
true.
But I think the game will come down to which team is better in the trenches in terms of the offensive line. And right now, I lean towards Alabama because they're healthier on the offensive line. Georgia's a little bit banged up right now.
Mm,
So right now, I think I favor Alabama in the trenches for the offensive line, and I favor them in the trenches for the defensive line as well. Because if Georgia's offensive line is banged up, I think that will open up the door for Alabama to have success and the pass rush and to stop the run. I think it's gonna be a good game, but I think I'm gonna go with Alabama here to pull off the upset to win the SEC title.
I like it. I like it. That would be good. I can't wait to watch that.
Yeah, it's gonna be a good game for sure. Big Ten championship. Your boys are up. Ohio State versus Indiana. This is actually the battle of the undefeated teams. Actually, the first and second best team in the country. So I want to know your thoughts on who you think is gonna win this game.
Oh, well, obviously I'm gonna go with my Buckeyes. But that being said, this is going to be our toughest test yet. This is by far going to be our toughest test. Uh, this team is no joke. What we're playing, not to disrespect any other team that we played, but to be honest, I haven't. I don't really think that we've had that much of a test this season. Uh, we've been, for the most part, been just dominating teams, offensively, defensively. Justin saying, I got to be honest, he shocked me this year. I did not think he was going to play this good this season. He was a little slow to start the season, but since then he's been playing a lot better. Now that obviously it helps when you got Jemiah Smith and these veteran guys, because that's one of the reasons why I'm so confident in this team is because we have a lot of guys. Even though we lost a lot of guys last year, we have a lot of guys coming back. We had a lot of guys coming back, especially in the receiver core. So that helped saying a lot, being that he had a lot of veteran receivers out there to help him out. Um, but this is, like I said, this Indiana team is not to be played with. They are legit, and it being a conference team makes it even harder. So I'm going with my Buckeyes, but I would not be surprised if it's a close game, and I would not be surprised if Indiana pulls it out because they are no joke. They are a legit tough team. But I'm confident in how Ryan Day has had this team prepared since us losing to the Michigan Wolverines last year. Since then,
Oh yeah.
we have been on a roll, and I'm loving the way we're playing. So I have all confidence in my Buckeyes.
Yeah, I agree with you here. I'm gonna go with Ohio State as well. I think this could steal the show for the conference championship weekend this year in college football. I mean, you got the battle of the unbeaten, the number one ranked versus the number two ranked team
Ooh,
in the country. It's definitely gonna be one hell of a game. I think Ohio State's gonna have the advantage here because they're riding a wave of momentum all year long. Like you said, they haven't really had anybody truly test them,
yep,
and they're coming off a big statement win, their first win against Michigan in 4 years on the road. But both teams got good quarterbacks. Like your guys, you got Julian Saying at quarterback. He's done a really tremendous job at the position this year. And Fernando Mendoza for Indiana is looking like a top five prospect for the upcoming NFL draft. So you're gonna have a good battle at the quarterback position. I think the game will be determined in the trenches as well. I think it's going to come down to which offensive line is going to be able to run the football because we know
yep,
both teams are going to run the ball. I mean, pass the ball. It's going to come down to which team can run the ball. I think clock management is going to play a factor. I think the coaching is going to play a factor here as well. But I think if it comes down to those factors, I trust Ohio State. I trust Ryan Day. I trust Julian Sayin. I trust Ohio State's defense to shut down the run
yep.
and give Indiana problems. And they'll get some defensive stops, possibly some defensive turnovers to help them win this game.
Oh, H. Oh, let's go, Buckeyes.
Final game. Honestly, spoiler. I think this is going to be the worst game of all five of the conference championship games. I should have picked the Tulane North Texas game to cover instead of this one. You got Virginia versus Duke. Now, Jones, I want to throw a fact at you here. Duke is actually not ranked. They've actually went 7-5 this year, but somehow, some way, due to their conference play in the ACC, they're in the championship game. So the
Oh,
fact that
man.
if they win this game, they could possibly get a spot in the college football playoffs.
Wow. You said West V, right?
Yeah. Virginia.
Oh, Virginia. Okay, I knew it was a Virginia team. I like Virginia too. You know what? Yeah, I'm gonna stick with it. I'm gonna stick with Virginia. Like basically from what you said, Duke has not been very convincing this year. So they pretty much snuck into this this game. So
Yeah.
uh, I don't expect them to do much. I think they're just happy to be there. Uh, and Virginia. Virginia they're a good program. Not that Duke isn't, but Virginia is a good football program. They've been a good football program for years. They're always well prepared, well coached. I haven't watched them a lot this year. I've maybe watched one game out of there from them, but they I like Virginia in this game. I don't have much to say because I haven't really watched these two teams, but like you said, Duke pretty much snuck in this, so I'm gonna go with Virginia on this one.
Yeah, I got a chance to catch a little bit of Virginia and Duke this year. I caught the game with Duke playing against Georgia Tech. I've seen them play against other ACC opponents. They're not really the best, and I think it was a robbery here. I know they're 7-5. They're 6-2 in conference play, but damn, committee, can you give us some leeway? Because you got Miami. The Miami Hurricanes are going to be one of the first teams out this year. They're in this conference. Pittsburgh. They're a pretty
Yeah.
good team in this conference. They're looking out.
Yep.
And Georgia Tech. I think Georgia Tech's a really good team too. So you got a lot of good
Yep.
teams in this conference that's looking out and possibly going to miss the playoffs.
Yeah, it's gonna.
But yeah, I'm gonna go with Virginia. These two teams actually played against each other. I caught a glimpse of the first two, 3 quarters earlier in the year when they played. And they were actually Virginia was actually up 31-3 against Duke in the fourth quarter. They came back a little bit, and the final score was 31-17. But they're not really that effective as a team. They got a good quarterback, a good dual threat guy, but overall, I think Virginia is going to win this game and punch their
Yeah.
ticket to college football playoffs.
Yeah, I agree. This is like you said earlier. This is going to be the snooze fest of all of the conference championships.
Yeah, it's definitely gonna be a good weekend, but I think out of all five, this is definitely gonna be the game that is gonna be the worst out of all
Still going to watch though because it's football.
of them. But yeah, we just wrapped it up, man. That's all the time we have for you guys today. Your host Tom Tyree and our guest today, Jones for the Jones and Sports Podcast. Jones, where before we log off, where can we find your podcast on social media platforms? Where can we find your podcast on different platforms?
You can find the Jones of Sports podcast on YouTube at JNFS 2391. YouTube, I had the old YouTube channel, but if you were subscribed to that one, you can transfer over to the new one. That podcast is on Thursdays at 7 p.m. Eastern time. You can find it on all of my social media platforms: Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Twitter. Yeah, and Twitter. So if you're looking for the link for that, you can just look in any of those bios at Jones for Sports. And like I said, 7 o'clock p.m. on Thursdays with me and my two co-hosts, Nico and E, a Broncos and a Eagles fan. So obviously I got to hear from both of them. But it's a lot of fun. So if you guys have time during that time, please pop up and have some fun with us. But again, I appreciate you having me, man. This was a lot of fun. Great podcast, man. Great.
Yeah, we're definitely gonna have to do this more often. You were a great guest today, and hopefully I can chop it up with you guys in the future on your show, man. But yeah, that's what collaborating's all about. You always reach out to people, and that's my message for everybody out there. You always reach out to people that's on the same path as you.
Yes.
And I think if you grow a community with collaborators and content creators, if one eats, I think everybody eats. So I think it's really great to always collaborate and look out for each other and always talk about sports just on the side too. So I'll definitely be doing that with you in the future, Jones. But yeah, we definitely had a great episode today. But that's all the time I have for you guys today. Your host Thomas Tyree and the host for Jones and for Sports, Jones signing off, and I'll see you guys on next week's episode.
Thanks.